Uber might be a thing of the past. LA has way too many problems. And I saw the gameplay trailer for the new One Punch Man video game. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
It's a me,
Dario!
Woohoo! Let's go!
Alright, so I was in LA yesterday. I was up there. I had a meeting. And also a friend of mine was in town. He's an old friend of mine from Guadalajara. He was up there because he's doing some work. I was like, I'll stop by and visit you. Kill two birds with one stone. And I saw a lot of shit. And that shit mixes up with a whole bunch of other shit. But before I get into it, I want to get all the other fun stuff out of the way. And also, if you want to listen to the podcast, you can find it in the iHeartRadio app. Just type in The Show Presents Super Dario World, or you can find it on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube as Super Dario World Podcast. Any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Dario the Show on Instagram. Easiest way for you to contact me. And okay, let me get the fun stuff out of the way. First off, it's been confirmed that Comedy Central has renewed South Park for 3 more seasons, which is great. I've said it many times before, South Park might be the smartest show on TV. As when you're a little kid, you appreciate it because it's like, oh, the cuss words, hey, they're saying mean things. As a grown-up, you realize the level of commentary they're making, and it's fair and balanced commentary, and they make fun of everybody. I love South Park. South Park is freaking genius. Matt Stone and Trey Parker are freaking comedy geniuses. Love that show. Happy it's going to have 3 more seasons. It's changed a lot in the last few years, because before it was just random episodes, no sequence of the story. Now it actually has a story, and they're following it along. It's a developing story. It's like a season-long plot line. It's pretty cool. It's really impressive what they do. Really impressive. I may do one episode where I just talk about South Park, because I have so much to say, and I've done a lot of research on how they developed the show and how quickly and why it's so up to date. But that's a thing for another day. Today I'm in the mood to talk about something else. So that's one thing. Second, I also saw the gameplay trailer for the new One Punch Man video game called A Hero Nobody Knows. Now, this is a fighting game, and as far as I can tell, it's going to be like a 3-on-3. So you have a team of 3, and you can switch them out in the fight. Now, on paper, for those of you who've seen the show One Punch Man, you probably think this is kind of a bad idea. Why? Well, let me give you the premise of the show. This is an anime, and pretty much it's the main character is a guy who he can kill everybody with a single punch. He's so powerful, he beats enemies with a single punch. Now, the show is hysterical. It's freaking genius in the way that they've managed to I don't want to say it's the same joke every single time, but they've managed to develop a story around this. It's genius. It's comedy genius. Just very different than South Park, but it's genius in its own right. Because, all right, the dude's so powerful, and he's also kind of a loser, and I mean a huge loser, and he's kind of out of touch with humanity. You know how Dr. Manhattan from The Watchmen is like, I don't feel human anymore, I'm so powerful? It's a similar thing. But here they find a way of using the same fucking joke over and over, and it's hysterical. I love that show. But anyway, so you were thinking, a fighting game where one of the characters can kill you can do one-hit kills does not sound like fun. But just watching the trailer, I can see why it looks kind of interesting, because if you choose to use Saitama or One Punch Man, he's not really. That's not really his name. I think his name his hero name is Cape Baldy. So if you choose to use the Cape Baldy, he needs 140 seconds to get into the fight. So you would only have 2 characters that you can use until Saitama reaches the game. So if you get killed before that, you're done, pretty much. But if he gets in there in that time, you're pretty much guaranteed to win. It's pretty much guaranteed because it's a one-hit kill. So it's funny in a way that I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. It's one of those things that I'm pretty sure that I'm going to have to play But just watching the gameplay trailer, I did feel the tension of, oh my god, he's about to come. Oh my god, he's about to come in. Oh my god, how are you gonna do it? No, what's the strategy? It was interesting. Honestly, it was very interesting to see. It's very clever. So what I at first thought was a terrible, terrible idea, now I'm actually pretty excited for it. I will at least try it out. I'll give it a shot. It's it put a smile on my face. It looks as stupid as the show is, so I'll give it a shot. It looks pretty interesting. Now let's move on to the things. I'm in a bad mood today. I'll be honest with you. I'm in a bad mood, and I've actually, it's a combination of things that I want to talk about, because I've been complaining about California for a while. I live in California, and so I've been complaining. California pisses me off a lot. And I had a lot of people ask me, like, oh, why are you so upset with California? I mean, it's pretty great here. The weather's nice, blah, blah. And I'm really upset because I feel like it's horribly run. And it drives me nuts. I hate it. I hate that I feel like my money's going nowhere, that my taxes are so high, that there's so many homeless people around. And yesterday, driving around LA, holy shit. Like, I don't feel like I can complain about the homeless situation in San Diego anymore, because fucking LA, it's every single bridge. I was going through the highway. Well, not every single bridge, but most of them had they were packed with camps, with tarps, not even like tents. Or tents made out of tarps, and plastered all across the bridge. Just homeless and homeless and homeless. And I started looking at the numbers. Apparently, because before I honestly didn't really, I knew about the stats overall in California. I did not know about the stats in LA specifically. Holy shit. It's insane. It's insane. Okay, so before, and I mean, this is 2018, Los Angeles had roughly about 59,000 homeless in Los Angeles County, okay? Which is a 12% increase from fucking 2018. 12% increase in a year. It's nuts. And also, they have so many fucking diseases. Like, the conditions, they live in trash. LA is so dirty. It's a dirty city. And they live in trash. They have used needles everywhere. It's gnarly, man. It's gnarly. And now, apparently, there's a reoccurrence. Well, here's some of the diseases that they have. Hepatitis A, tuberculosis, staph, and there's cases of typhus. And there's a reappearance of the bubonic plague. The bubonic plague. For those of you who don't know, the bubonic plague was also known as the Black Death in the Middle Ages, and it was responsible for killing 60% of the population in Eurasia in the 1300s. The bubonic plague is back because this fucking state is horribly fucking run, and that city is horribly fucking run. How could this happen? I mean, I could tell you, but I don't know. It was just being there is mind numbing. I don't get it. I don't get it. Well, I do understand, but all right. I've been upset with California for a really long time, really, really long time, and it has to do first off that with a whole fucking 13% tax that we have to pay. 13%, the highest taxes in the nation we have to pay here in California. Overall, I think by the end of the day, the government takes about like 25% of our money. 25%. Which is insane because we double down on taxes. We have to pay the state one and the federal one, which is bullshit. Freaking bullshit. I think that California this year ended up getting $1 billion more in taxes than it expected. $1 billion more. The state's still bankrupt. It's still bankrupt. And there's a whole bunch of lies everywhere, and I hate it. For example, I read this thing that the former governor, I think it was Jerry Brown, he supposedly left he left the state with a $30 billion surplus, right, of money. We have $30 billion. It's fine. We have more money than we expected. That's pretty much a lie, because here's how it goes. Let's say you have $30 in the bank, right? You have $30 in the bank. You're in a surplus, right? But you are in debt for $3,000. Are you in the black or are you in the red? You're in the red, right? So it's a very sure. Yes, we have money in the bank, sure, but California's like $1 trillion in debt. We are the 5th best economy in the world. That's not a joke. That's not a fucking joke. The 5th best economy in the world, worldwide. The state of California, not the United States, not anything else. The state of California is the 5th best economy in the fucking world, and we're $1 trillion in the hole, over $1 trillion in the hole. How is that fucking possible? Well, it's because this state is horribly fucking run. Now, before I get into like all the things of why this thing is horribly run, I just want to get into another piece of news because I think one will help explain the other. Now, it was just announced that lawmakers in fucking Sacramento are want to pass a law that says that Uber, Lyft, and all these it's not a .com, all these app companies who hire independent contractors have to officially hire their employees. So you can no longer list all the Uber drivers can no longer be listed as independent contractors. They have to be listed as employees of the company. That way they have to be paid. Well, here's the difference. Independent contractor, you don't have to pay a salary for, right? You can just make a deal, and whatever deal you decide to make, that's how it works. Like, you don't have to give them benefits. You don't have to give them the equipment. You don't have to give them. You don't have to do anything. They're independent. They're independent. That's what the word means. But they have to handle their own stuff, and that's how that works. And that may sound a little harsh and one-sided, but guess what? They don't have to work there. You don't have to take the deal if you don't want to. So to me, I've never feel bad for treating people like adults and being like, you took that deal as an adult. You decided to take the deal. So they don't have to work there if they don't want to. Now, according to this law, they want all employees of Uber to be considered employees. So they'd get minimum wage, they'd get benefits, they get all that stuff. So, sounds pretty good for the drivers, right? Except by poll data and by the people that I've asked who actually do Uber, most of the people that do Uber do it in their spare time. All right, they don't have a minimum of hours. They don't have a boss. They like it because they don't have a boss. They have the freedom to do it whenever they want, as long as they want to. Statistically, most people don't do it 40 hours a week, so nobody really does it full time. Like 96% of people don't do it full time, and about 40-something% don't even do it over 30 hours. Let me just, I guess I could check that number. Let me see. It doesn't really matter. But the point is, you like that. People like DoorDash. People like working for Uber. People like working for Lyft because it gives them freedom, and they can do their own stuff. They can make their own schedules. They can do whatever. It gives them freedom. That's pretty much it. They're independent. However, there's a small group of people who are like, oh, it's not fair. They're not paying us enough. Maybe you could argue that, but that you could argue that you deserve a bigger piece of the pie. But that's a very different thing than making a law that says that you have to force all these people to be considered employees. Because here's what happens. Now, if all these people become employees, then that means that they will get paid more money. Because forget about the hourly wages. It's the benefits. The benefits are the things that make things skyrocket. Now, if you have to start paying benefits to all your employees, that means you have to bring your costs up, right? So the cost of all this stuff is going to fall onto the consumer, meaning us. Meaning that if your Uber ride used to cost you, let's say $5, probably it's going to cost you, let's say 10, right? It's if it doesn't double, I'll be shocked, because this is a domino effect. So being forced to become an employee, also there's a whole lot of complications because you use your own car. But so does that mean that now Uber has to pay for the maintenance for your car? Does it have to provide you with a car? Because you're an employee of Uber. That means that you should be using Uber's equipment. So do you have to sign a release for your car? Will you be paying for your car getting used? Oh, will Uber be reimbursing you for the damage in your car? Will it insure your car? There's so many fucking things. All right. And all these things make the costs go up. Up. And again, you will be losing the freedom of doing it. So all the people who just did it for fun, well, not for fun. Well, some people do it for fun. I remember Sky mentioned that her dad or her father, somebody she knows, she just does it because he's retired and is like, he likes talking to people. so that they do it for fun. But let's say that all the people who liked it because of the freedom, the flexibility, they just needed to make a few extra bucks to, to cover rent and stuff, or because they're in between jobs. Most of these people won't take those jobs because now you have to work a 9 to 5 or specific hours, specific shifts. You have to, maybe you'll get certain routes. You have to follow company policies. You have to blah, blah. So you have a boss. So a lot of people who liked it for the freedom won't do it. And now there's a thing called supply and demand in economics. So supply is how much of something there is, and demand is how much people want it. Usually you want to keep a balance of those two. The higher the demand and the lower the supply, the higher the price will be. Because the balance of those two things is what basically sets the market price. So imagine you have something that everybody really wants, right? Everybody really, really, really wants something. Let's say an iPhone, right? So the demand for an iPhone, because I remember when people went crazy for fucking iPhones. I don't think it's the same anymore, because they bring one out every 5 fucking minutes, but whatever. So let's say when the iPhone first came out, the very first one, demand was super high, super high. The supply was limited because you can only make a certain amount of phones. And since the supply was limited, the value of it that's why the fucking phones are so expensive, because there's only a certain amount of them left, so you got to pay up. You got to pay up. Think of any rare item you have ever, any rare item. The less there is of something, the more valuable it is. Now, imagine that not only do the costs of Uber go up, because now they have employees, they have to pay benefits, they probably have to pay a maintenance for the car, they have to pay for all that stuff, so the price already goes up. And a bunch of people quit because they're like, fuck this shit, I don't want to go through that, I don't want to deal with all this stuff, I don't want to be an employee for a fucking company, I'd rather do my own thing, and they all of them quit. So now the supply goes down. So the price has gone up. The price of the service has gone up, and since the supply went down, that means that the cost goes up again, right? Because now you're competing with more people who still want the same service. They still want to keep using Uber and Lyft, but there's not enough drivers. There's not enough drivers for anybody, and that allows them to make the price go higher, and they'll just get all the people who want to pay more. So what does this do for a society? Well, what it does is probably more DUIs, probably more accidents on the road, probably a whole bunch of consequences that I can't even fathom yet. Because so far, I think that the best thing that freaking Uber and Lyft have done is save people from having to do that. It's a really, really, it's been really helpful in that sense. And so now we're reverting to it, and I don't think it's going to be a sustainable thing if it gets too expensive. So, because normal people can't afford it. Right now, there's people who could actually, go to work. They don't have a car because they used to go to work. They used to go to work with certain, I think it's Uber vouchers and stuff, and I think it's a pretty fairly good deal. Now they won't be able to do that. So there's a whole bunch of consequences over this, and lawmakers don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. It's like, no, we got to give these people all that stuff. They weren't asking for it. Well, not everybody was asking for it. Some of them were. And there's a bunch of really ridiculous stuff. Like, there's a lady who's already suing Uber because, this was announced yesterday, I think, that this law was being considered. Well, it got approved to be considered pretty much. It's still not actual law. But she was, and Uber basically said, yeah, we're going to fight this. And so this Uber employee, this Uber contractor is trying to give, is trying to sue Uber, a class action lawsuit for publicly stating that it intends to defy this statute. Now, here's something funny, Miss McCrae, because that's her name, McCrae. I don't give a fuck. Here's something really funny. They haven't broken the law because it's not a law yet. They just said something. They're like, we're planning to defy it. They haven't done it yet. Okay, they haven't broken the law. They're just saying like, we're going to defy it. We're going to, meaning that they're going to try to fight it from becoming law. And here's the other funny thing. You're an independent contractor. That does not mean they have to hire you. So I'm pretty sure that A, you're going to lose this fucking lawsuit because it's stupid, and because they haven't broken any laws, and B, I'm pretty sure you're not getting hired. Would you hire somebody who sued you? Fuck no. It's like, fuck you, lady. In fact, you stop working for me. You're no longer an independent contractor for my company. Fuck you. You can go fuck yourself. Who the fuck do you think you are? Suing me for not breaking the law yet. That's ridiculous. That's insane. So yeah, apparently this thing might go into effect on January 1st, but there's still some changes that could be made, and Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, they're fighting it because it would completely destroy their fucking models. Models that people like, by the way. Not everybody loves them, but the majority of people actually enjoy these services. I know I do. Most people do. And so artificially fucking up with the prices, no bueno. No fucking bueno. And California, I think California and New York are the only states doing this. Everybody else is like, oh, it's just, it's working. Let's let everybody do what they want. It's fine. So, all right. So supply and demand. That's I feel like that explained. Now, how does that affect the homeless issue in Los Angeles? Well, the problem is in California, it's impossible to build fucking anything. It's impossible. Well, not impossible, but it's extremely difficult because of several things protecting residents. Let's say, for example, rent control, stuff like that. So it's impossible to get people out. So it's impossible to really build something. And there's a whole bunch of rules and regulations that you have to follow, and it makes it really expensive. And basically, let me see if I can break it down to like three things. One, that getting a permit or anything approved takes forever. And I mean forever. There's delays for everything. Bureaucrats suck. They suck. Everything's delayed. Any project ever will take forever to get approved, and then they have to get approved again, and then they have to get approved again, and it takes forever. Just ask Guy in our house, It's a process, and that's just small projects. Imagine big ones. Another one is that you can't do residential development on commercial zones, and that there's single-family housing half a mile near from a freaking trolley stop. And, well, this one I just don't like. I don't like rent control. But, all right, I'll explain every single one of those. But let me just get to my point. The point is it's incredibly difficult to build in California. And so if it's very difficult to build, that means that people will still need houses, right? So the demand will keep going up. So if the demand goes up and the supply is down because we're not building enough, what do you think that does to the prices? Remember, supply and demand. High demand, low supply. What do you think that does to the price of things? It makes it go up. If you can't build new stuff, or if you can't build new stuff, better stuff, or more efficient stuff, then you're stuck paying more for older, crappier stuff. That's it. So you end up paying way more money for an older, crappier apartment because it cannot be. They cannot tear it down and build a new, bigger one. Because of all the fucking rules and regulations. So that's one of the reasons why homelessness has gone up in California. Some of the homeless people have jobs. They just can't. They live in their car, but they just can't afford to pay fucking rent in LA. They just can't. So they sleep in their car. They have a gym membership, and so they just shower at the gym, and they eat out. It's cheaper than fucking. It's not as comfortable, but it's cheaper than having to pay rent in LA. It's nuts. Imagine $2,000 for a single bedroom apartment. It's nuts. So it's that's one of the issues there. So people, and also imagine having to still be paying student loans and all that shit. So that's one of the reasons why homelessness is up in California, because there's no place to live, and it's impossible to build new stuff, which makes the prices of wherever you live higher. Like, have you ever considered why the place that you're renting right now gets more expensive every single year, considering that the house just keeps getting older and older, and the roads are getting crappier and crappier? Everything is getting crappier and crappier, but the prices keep going up. What do you think that is? It's not a coincidence here. It's pretty simple. It's because building stuff in California, it's fucking impossible. And I think they just passed a new law that makes it even more difficult. And now, to get to the things that I said that are the reasons why I think all this is fucked up. So the three reasons. What was the first one that I said? Oh yeah, that you can't. Most of the state, you cannot build residential in commercially zoned areas. Now, what does this mean? For example, this is not everywhere in California. Let's say in San Diego here, downtown, there's housing areas mixed with commercial areas, right? They're right there. They're together. But think about the rest of San Diego County. The commercial areas are pretty much lumped in together. This usually means businesses. And commercial and residential areas are built separate. All right? There's not a 7-Eleven with a building on top. That's not a thing. It's only in very specific areas. So, what does this mean, and why do they do this? Apparently, the reason why you cannot build residential areas in commercial areas is because the government wants your fucking money. So, shocker, right? So in residential areas, they can only tax you for property tax. In a commercial area, they can tax you for residential for property tax and also sales tax. So it's more fucking money, right? It's more fucking money. It always comes down to that. So that's why they won't do that. If they did, then that would actually allow you to build more. It would, and I mean by more, I mean way fucking more. Now, that's one. The other one that I mentioned was, and this one really bothers me. It's the single family residences a half a mile from trolley stops. Now, think about this. The taxpayers of California, I'm going to say we've paid so much money to create the fucking trolley system, to create the public transportation system. And why is it that outside of the most convenient thing would be that outside of every single trolley stop, there were a bunch of buildings, right? And you could also have businesses there. Imagine commercial places where there's a commercial, something commercial and something residence, like a big buildings everywhere. Why aren't there buildings near trolley stops? I will never fucking understand. There's single family houses all around. And I can think of a lot of those stops very clearly. Like, I live in Chula Vista. The ones in Chula Vista, single family housing or commercial, right? There's not buildings nearby. I know there's one in Morena that stops at a building, which is great because that gives. But the problem is that it's right next to the river, so it's actually pretty limited. That one's really stupidly placed, and the rest of it is all fucking commercial anyway. So ideally, if you want people to stop driving and use the public transportation, well then public transportation should be easily accessible to more people. So instead of having, let's say you have 10 houses near, let's say, I'll give you more. There's 100 houses walking distance from the trolley station, right? You got 100 houses, 100 families, and let's say 2 people from every house go walking, go to, they walk over to the trolley station and, that's how they get to work because they can do it because it's going to save them a buttload of money on gas because things are nuts here in California. And it's also better for the environment and all that stuff. So whatever. Now, imagine in the area that you can have 4 houses, you could have 1 building. So 4 houses, and since you're building up, you could have, imagine 4 houses, that means you can have 4 apartments per level, and there'd be pretty big ones because they'd be the size of a fucking house. But let's say, I'll be modest here. So let's say you have 4 fucking apartments per floor, and you get 10 floors up, which you could go but higher. That means that in that area alone, just in those 4 houses where there were only 8 people coming out, now you would have potentially, and again, if only 2 people per household are taking the trolley, 40 people. That means that in one single building that takes up the area of 4 houses, you went from 8 people to 80 people that could have immediate access to the trolley, walking distance. What do you think that does? Let's say, to traffic. What do you think that does to the cost of rent? What do you think that's to a whole bunch of shit? Imagine you build a whole bunch. So let's say the 100 houses that are closest to it, just 100, right? And to make this easier for you, instead of saying 4 houses, I'll do 5. So every 5 houses from these group of 100 that are closest to a fucking trolley station, let's say that every 5 of them is a building. So every 5 of those houses gets turned into a building, and you go up, so you'd have 50 fucking apartments, right? Per building. And I know I'm exaggerating a lot, but there is a considerable difference right then and there. It would, I mean, I don't think this is crazy. I don't think this is crazy because it would roughly be what? I don't know, 50 times 20. It would be 1,000. So you would have 1,000 units there, 1,000 houses for people to live. So you took down 100 houses and you put up 1,000 apartments. What do you think that does to the price of rent? What do you think that does to pollution? What do you think that does to traffic? Because these are people who are near walking distance to the trolley station. And if you're walking distance to the trolley station, what would you probably do? You would usually take the trolley if you work somewhere near the trolley or it's near the bus or something. My sister uses the trolley. I don't know why. It's really weird. But she likes using the trolley because parking in downtown is a bitch. Well, actually, that's exactly why she does it. So that's another issue there. It's a simple solution. The only thing they have to do is you have to remove really old, stupid laws that don't let you do it. And I get it. Like, no, it's not fair to remove people from their houses or blah, blah, blah. Well, for not screwing one people over, you're screwing millions over. Millions and millions over. And I think here the supermajority should take it. Right? I mean, I don't think it's nuts to say that. But anyway, so another issue that I have with California is the debt. Oh, I have this debt. I have an issue with the debt of the United States in general because we're trillions of dollars in debt, and our leaders don't care because they keep raising the fucking debt, the debt ceiling, and it's stupid. And I know they don't give a fuck because they're not the ones that are going to have to pay the bill. Like right now, like I said it before, California is fucking bankrupt. We're $1 trillion in debt. And guess what? People are leaving California because the taxes are too fucking high. And it's filled with homeless people. And some of those homeless people shit on the streets. And in San Francisco, it's legal for you to shit on the streets. It's actually illegal for your dog to shit on the streets. Well, if you leave it there. But it's legal for humans to do it. So if your dog takes a shit on the street and you forget to clean it up and a cop walks by and wants to give you a ticket, if you say, oh no, it's mine, then they won't give you a ticket. Because human feces is okay, dog feces is not okay. Why the fuck do you think people are leaving this fucking state? And it's not just one or two people that are leaving California. It's by the thousands. Thousands. Let me try to find the exact number here, because I remember when I read it, it was nuts. It's a nuts. Well, not really like a nuts statement, because I've considered leaving California multiple times. I complain about it a lot, so trust me, I've considered other work opportunities in other places, pretty much just because I don't want to deal with this shit anymore. They're taking too much of our money, and I'm not seeing anything back. That's what pisses me off. I don't see it back. Our roads suck. Schools suck. Quality of life, not great. Because, well, for me, it's fine. But for most people, imagine all those homeless people, quality of life, not a thing. Not a good thing. It's insane. It's fucking insane. And the solution is what? Just take more of our money? The taxes are going to keep going up. Why? Because we're trillions of dollars in debt. And we don't have, and the fifth greatest economy in the world does not have enough money to pay for it unless they take your money. It's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, as of right now, per taxpayer, the debt per taxpayer, per resident and taxpayer, everybody owes $74,000 to pay our share of the debt, right? Every single taxpayer in California owes $74,000 if we want to repay the debt. And this is not considering the interest that are going to be gathered, by the way, because that's what debt does, interest. $74,000. You owe the government $74,000 because they were so fucking terrible at their fucking jobs. Yeah. Think about that for a second. Think about that for a fucking second. And what do you think? All right, from 2011 to 2016, more than 243,000 Californians left. 243,000 California natives left the state. What do you think? And by the way, those 243,000 add up to about $7.7 billion, 7.7 billion in tax revenue. So the less people here paying taxes, guess what happens? We have to pay more. That's why our taxes keep going up. That's why they keep going up. And now, for the last few years, the people leaving California has been way greater than the number of people coming here. At least the people coming here legally paying taxes, right? It's fucked. It is fucked. That it's pissing me off. And seeing it yesterday, I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't. It's too much. Too many lies, too much ineptitude anywhere, everywhere. Our money's basically being stolen? What's it going to? Honestly, tell me, where are our tax dollars going to? Where? Tell me. They're not going to the schools. Freaking teachers are freaking teachers unions. You know, they're trying to. Earlier this year, they were complaining about it. They were on a strike, if I recall correctly, at least in LA. They're not going to fix the freaking the tax that they gave us for fixing the homeless situation. Not fixed. In fact, it's getting worse. Tell me, where's it going? Where's it going? Our roads aren't getting any better. Not at all. Where is it? It's not an infrastructure. Where is it? In fact, I've heard that the money that should have been used to fix infrastructure and roads and all that shit has been diverted into the debt to try to, clear up some of those interests and stuff like that. I'm not sure if that's legal, but, that's, what can you do? So, where's it going? Honestly, tell me, what the fireworks show? The Chargers Stadium? Where does it go? Where does it all going? The fifth greatest economy in the world. That means better than literal fucking countries. It's better than Russia. It's better than Mexico. And we can't get our shit together. It's better than most European countries. And we can't get our shit together? Really? Where is it going? Where? Just explain to me where. Where am I getting it? Where am I getting it? Because I don't see it. I just see it that my money's being, it's being thrown away in stupid programs that don't even work to pay for the bills of fucking a-holes that 30, 40, 50 years ago decided, you know what? Let's make the kids pay for this, which is fucking bullshit. It's super easy to be the first one to say, you know what? Let's just make this system that other generations have to pay for it. Yeah, we'll take advantage of it and we'll make somebody else pay for it. That's great. That's the best way to buy stuff, when somebody else has to fucking pay for it. You know what that's called? Intergenerational stealing. They're stealing from future people who aren't even born yet. If I have a credit card and I get myself in debt and I die, that debt dies with me. It doesn't work the same way with the government. If the government gets itself in debt, then that debt transfers to the next generation, meaning us. Right now, we're getting fucked. Fucked. Without any lubricant, without even saying please, without nothing. Just throw a whole bunch of dirt in there and they fucked us. And they spit on us, and then they said, you're welcome. You're welcome. Fuck that. Fuck them. It pisses me off. It pisses me off. Because, there's stuff we could do. We could leave. That's the thing. I could leave. I could leave, and then I no longer owe those $74,000. My cut of it would go off to somebody else. I could leave. That's an option. I like it here. My family's here. I always grew up here. I love the area. I love the people here. I love the freaking weather. But fuck me, man. Why can't people just do better? Why? Why can't it be run by people who actually care more about the future and, are actually investing in the future than worrying about the right now and getting, the best out of right now and screwing everybody else over? You see that baby in the corner right there? Look at it. Say, fuck you. You're going to pay for everything for me. Fuck you, kid. You're trillions and trillions of dollars in debt. And California's just one. Throughout the whole United States, I think we're like $30 trillion in debt. So the state government in California, $1 trillion in debt. Federal government like $30 trillion in debt. It's insane. The interest on that thing is insane. There's a point where the interests are going to be greater than the money the entire country makes. But whatever. Fuck you, kid. You've done nothing wrong your entire fucking life, but just for the fact that you were born here, you're fucked. You're going to have to pay for that. Not me. I didn't cause this. No, not me. No, it's not my policies. It's not the way I vote. It's not on everything. No, I didn't do anything. It was you. So fuck you, kid. You have to live with this. Fuck you, little shit. It's unreal. It's unreal how people can't look ahead. They can't see like a few moves ahead and how fucked up things can get. And it's selfishness. It's really it's selfish. Previous generations were selfish. We're being selfish. We're not looking ahead. We're not planning ahead. Anyway, that's it. That's it for today. I'm not gonna do the throwback clips thing. I'll probably do it tomorrow, maybe. Depends. Just not in the mood for it. I was pissed. Then I wanted to vent. Sorry. Hopefully you learned something. If you have any more questions, you can always find me at Dario the Show on Instagram. If I was wrong on something, please tell me. It might make me feel better, and by a lot. Anyway, for those of you who are wondering, that's why I'm pissed off in California. So, as always, thank you for listening, and I'll see you again tomorrow.